Hey, Tom. Tom, can you hear me? There it goes. Hey, Carl, can you hear me?
I can, Jeremy.
Okay.
I guess you can hear me too.
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, perfect. Yep. I just couldn't hear Tom, so I just didn't know if he was going to be good to go or not. Tom, you good?
I can hear you all.
Perfect.
Hello, Tom.
Hi, Carl. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Adequate?
Adequate is better than the alternative.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Hello, Mark.
How you doing, Tom?
Can't hear you very well.
Is that better?
Yeah, marginally.
Sorry.
That's good.
One finance guy
It's
to
good. It
another,
might
it's
be
only
him.
marginal, Mark. You've been playing, Carl?
I have.
I'd ask Mark that, but I think I know the answer.
Playing what?
By the way, the audio on that was great.
All right.
It's been so damn cold. I mean, we've been playing, but wow. Doesn't
It
seem
just
to have
seems
hurt
like it
Jerry's-
should be warmer, doesn't it?
Sure
I'm
does.
sorry?
I said it just seems like it should be warmer.
Yeah, and you know, the the funny part for me is we had a couple of really nice warm days. So I think I acclimated to spring
Mm-hmm.
because now that it's cold, I'm feeling like, God, is December ever going to go away?
Yeah. Same here, Tom. I felt the same way lately.
Mr. Davis. Oops, he must not have the audio working yet.
Who? Oh, Brad.
Hey, what's going on?
I thought for a second Mike was on the call. I'm like, what?
He doesn't even know who we are.
Yeah.
That's not true. He knows who we are.
Yeah, I'm afraid he does. Little quiet at the course today, Jeremy?
Yeah, first night of leagues though. So, yeah, a little quiet, but we have leagues tonight. So
Did somebody go ahead of them to chip the ice off the sticks?
yeah, we had a couple, brave soldiers out there today. Yeah. The weekend was jamming. I mean, we were sold out Saturday and Sunday. So the weekend was very, very busy.
Yeah, I was still busy yesterday when I teed off it too.
Yeah. I think I got out of here about 6 o'clock, and I mean, we had still people teeing off,
Wow.
so, yeah, busy.
Well, come on, Janet. Come on, Kelsey.
Janet's not going to join us. Kelsey, I don't know, is going to join us either. So,
We have a quorum, so let's
Well,
get
we still have a
started.
quorum. We
Yeah.
can go. Let's get started.
Jeremy, I noticed you've already sold 50,000 more in passes than you did all of last year.
just wait until the end of this month.
All right, let's get started here.
All right, let's
Since
call the meeting to order. Yeah.
there appears to be no one from the public who wants to talk with us.
Well,
So
Kevin from Middleton Times is on. I don't know if he wants to say anything or not.
oh, there's Kevin. He's blanked out.
Yeah,
Oh.
that's for your benefit. Yeah. I had a question about the financials.
Hold on, we'll get there.
Yeah, it's on the agenda, so hopefully you'll get to that question. That'd be good. I'll wait.
Kevin, do you have anything else you want to say here now?
No, that'll do her. Thank you.
All right. So I need a motion to approve the minutes from the previous meeting. I assume we've all read them. Corrections or changes would be appropriate now, or a motion.
Move to accept.
I second.
Carl seconded. All in favor, say aye.
I
Aye.
Passes. Golf operations and financial update. This is what Kevin came for.
Yeah, okay, so let's do the easy one first, right? So look, you guys have any questions on 2021 financials? Pretty easy, obviously very early in the season, so it's, you know, I don't think there's too much we've got to worry about as far as 2021 goes. So far, just it's panning out to be a good year for us. So let's just hope it holds the course as it seems to be. So other than that, I really have no other updates.
Questions? Comments?
And then obviously, you know, like as Dennis pointed out, right, memberships, we'll have better numbers for you to see after the next 11 days or something like that. So.
Well, what we've got here so far looks pretty good, Jeremy.
Well, and just remember, guys, that at this time last year, we were closed, right? So, you know, even on a day like today that is relatively low, it's still better than last year, you know? So, okay, so moving on to 2020, you know, these are numbers that you guys have already seen. It's just, it's more of a final number. And I hope that there's some clarification on depreciation versus, you know, the expense. I sent you over, you know, essentially what you asked for from the last meeting, having the capital expenditures, which this year, or excuse me, in 2020, we spent $238,000 and 122 to be exact on capital expenditures, right? So that was that document that I sent over to you today. And that was on the year-over-year comparison tab, just for your benefit. The net result, though, stays the same.
Questions?
Yeah, so just so we're clear, really the way that we should be looking at this is that we have a backlog of capital for 2020 of almost 62 grand that we did not spend, right?
Well, remember we did that, Mark, because I wasn't sure about COVID.
I'm not saying that there's a bad reason for it. What I'm saying is that what we agreed to is that we want to spend 300 grand a year. What we really should be doing is spending that difference to catch up in 21. Right.
Right.
So
So you're suggesting we have a different target this year because of a lag on last year.
I think we do. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
So if there are things that we can accelerate to use that, right? What we agreed with the city was that we would fund capital for 3, fund a reserve for 1, and then repayment of advances of 4. So, and then anything addition to that would build up, would continue to build up our reserves.
Right.
Okay.
So
That's
if
certainly how I understand
if there are small projects that need to get done, you know, we should probably talk about maybe advancing them.
Okay. Well, we can also, you know, maybe that can be part of the number 3.
Okay.
You know, like a number that jumps out at me, or not a number, but a project would be the fence, Mark, that we're obviously concerned about regarding the, you know, the Erdman property, right?
Yep.
Right.
There you go.
That would be a good opportunity to get that hashed out.
Yes, it would.
You might have more, well, we can talk about that when we get there. Other comments, questions on the finances from last year?
So one of the things I noted in here, it seems our operating margin seems to be really good last year. And I understand it was such a disastrous year in terms of what people could expect, but it seems like you're up 300 grand in revenue over year. And expenses were down too. So are we do you have any idea when you built the budget for this year, did you just take maybe you can respond differently. That expense profile is just going to ramp up to the revenue expectations, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think we obviously took a very conservative approach to last year, right? You know, we were unsure. We didn't have our maintenance crew start until really after April 24th. So that's a month of salaries that wasn't there. Our golf crew didn't start. That's a month of salaries. Food and beverage, we were shut down. So we had limited expenses on the food and beverage side. So I do think that those expense numbers are a little bit skewed based on the fact that we were mandated to be shut down.
Right.
And then, you know, golf was a very, very popular sport last year, and we were able to maximize the golf course to the best of our abilities within the staff that we had at the time. You know, it put a lot of stress on us. It was a lot of hard work, and frankly, Pleasant View earned every single dollar that came in last year.
No, and I would agree with that. It's remarkable how well the golf course did given the circumstances. So, you know, are you, for this year, is it more repeat of 19, or is it still 2020 behaviors?
I feel like you're going to find a hybrid between 19 and 20 would be my logical response to that.
Way to equivocate.
Well, but Mark, I think that's absolutely true. Being a golfer and being out there all the time, there were an awful lot of people playing all week long last year.
Yeah.
Where, you know, they might have otherwise found themselves in an office somewhere. And it was pretty staggering on the volume of golf. I'm always concerned that we show a really big year like that, and suddenly that's the new bar we have to get to, which we can't possibly do over and over and over. I mean, that was a unique set of circumstances, and it was met with a unique set of responses that allowed it to happen. So,
right, and you can look at the financials too, right? And you know, there were years where things were great, and then there were other years when obviously weather was bad, right? So between 15 and 14, there was $1 million drop.
right.
Between 18 and 17, there was a $600,000 drop. And I'm sure most of those are weather related. So I don't think anybody's trying to say.
Well, so hey, Mark, that 14, that was something we didn't make $3 million that year. There was something else I thought happened in those numbers.
Oh, you know what that was? That was that was when we fixed that was the sale of the property.
So yeah, that's a little bit skewed.
Yeah. Right.
I think you can look at the trends. If you look at, you know, frankly, 13, well, so 12 was a great year. I do remember that one. And then 13, and you can see 50, you know, it's trending in the right direction. 17 was another transfer of something. We transferred something in 14 and transferred something in 17. I can't quite remember what exactly it was.
What year did we spend all the money on the wellhead for?
No, that would not have been that. This was, I think they're related to the carve out of the bike park.
But then 18, 19 there were no transfers of funds or anything like that. And then 20, no transfers. So.
Right.
Kevin?
Yes.
I saw you light up.
Oh, must have coughed. I did have a question about 2020 finances. Is this the time to ask that?
Sure.
Okay, so there was no new debt taken on last year. And I'm just wondering if golf course revenue exceeded operating expenses and any debt repayment that was made in
So
2020.
Kevin, you see the financials, correct?
Yeah, I don't have them up here, but I guess I better.
So I sent you the financials and that question has been answered in the financials, but yes, you are correct.
Okay, so there was debt repayment last year?
Yep.
Okay,
So Kevin, let's just be clear on what you're calling debt. The golf course has advances from other city funds that we're in the process of repaying. That's what we're considering debt repayments. It's not external debt, not external to the city.
But Kevin, you're aware of all this already. We've had this conversation multiple times. Nothing has changed since the last time you and I have spoken.
okay, we haven't talked to him probably over a year. So
Yep, that's correct. Nothing has changed since the last time you and I have spoken.
I haven't missed anything, huh? Okay.
Nope. No,
All right, see you next year. See you next year, then.
no, but I mean,
Next year will be different.
take a look at that report that I sent you. All your questions are right there. We certainly revenue exceeded expenses even after that repayment that Mark was just referring to.
That helps clear it up. I can see the numbers. I just want to make sure I understand them correctly too before I.
Yep, no problem.
All right, let's move on.
Was there any other questions or
Oh, that'll do her. Thank you.
okay. So, look, guys, I hope that capital stuff is clarified. Jessica, I had a meeting with them this morning at 9. They've been fantastic to work with, and we're just going to continue to clean this process up of capital going forward and depreciation. And we're going to get on the same page as the auditors recommend that we go through our depreciation list and just make sure that we are, comfortable with that list. But as you can see, guys, it was a very good year. Are we going to net $600,000 again this year? Mark, I don't know that answer. I would like to think so, yes. But I am not going to be as strict with, for example, the LTEs as I was last year, right? Last year, we put a lot of stress on ourselves, and rightfully so, because I was nervous, right? I mean, I was very scared about what was going to happen at this time, right? We had no idea that golf was going to be a boom that it was. And so this year we are fully expecting golf to be very busy, and we're going to be staffing accordingly as opposed to creating stress for me and all the other key players at Pleasant View.
Well, we'll talk more about future years when we get down to, we talk about Pleasant View Road. I really am very concerned about the business impact on that.
Yeah, so,
and how
okay,
we're gonna
well,
get past that.
that's a nice segue, Tom, unless there's anything else somebody has on number one.
Have you, since Jessica's been around for what, a year now?
Approximately, yeah.
Have you repeated our request for a cash flow statement?
I have not, but I will.
Right. So part of this is that city's obviously interested. The general fund is obviously interested in get paid in cash. We're taking these depreciation expenses, which are non-cash charges, which means theoretically we should have cash in excess of what our operating income is, right? So,
Mark, you should be able to see that on if you go to year-over-year comparison.
Yeah.
And go to the bottom right.
Yeah.
Golf cash account.
Oh, that's the cash account? Okay. All right. Yeah. So, there. Yep, I'm good.
So now Bill sends, he typically will send me, like an updated debt payment plan, right?
Right.
I haven't received that yet.
Yeah, okay. That's fine. Well, so you got to take 60 grand out of it, or 62 grand out of that in order to know what our usable cash should be.
Sure.
Okay.
Pleasant View Road. Any update on timing, Jeremy?
Yeah, so no, I've had no update since the last time that we have met. I do know that Kevin Norby and company have been working with Strand as far as the ponds, the retention ponds are concerned, and the grading is concerned. Corey Real Estate or the company that was doing the assessments was out here, and that's the stakes that you see. You know, I don't have anything to share with you visually, but they did stake what would be the new permanent easement versus the limited access easement. And that limited easement, you know, during construction, guys, I mean, if you have not seen it, it is, and Tom's seen it, it is all the way to the fairway on hole number 2.
Oh,
I mean, we're talking right there. Now, what they're going to be doing right there, I don't exactly know. But the point is that's theoretically within the construction zone, is from my understanding. And then that would then go back to us after construction.
So do
Okay.
we know how far east from that blue tagged line we're going to end up with something green instead of a caterpillar?
I don't know what that means.
That means they could park a caterpillar up to that easement line right now if they wanted to. How much of that land do we get back?
Oh, yep. So we get a lot of that back, Tom.
How much?
I don't have the exact feet right off the top of my head. I don't have a map to show you, right? There are stakes with various colors.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't have a great answer for you right now, but part of that limited construction easement, if you will, that's also due to the mounding that we're going to need requirement to
Right.
create that buffer.
It's
So it's not just about the road, it's about that buffer that we
Right.
need. Yeah.
well, it's where that line really comes in deep right now. Have the rest of you seen that?
no, haven't seen that, Tom, but what does that mean? What does that means that could be their work zone and that we get
I
some of
think
that work zone back?
My understanding, that's not true. My speculation is that they can go up to that line if they need to with whatever they need, heavy equipment or anything else
Mhm.
during the construction period.
Correct.
So, I
And then
mean,
we
you
get
know, you
that,
can-
and then that land is back to us
Okay,
after construction.
Are
You
are
can
you
put a nice
saying,
straw into the cab of a cat.
are you saying that you don't think the hole will be playable?
I don't know that I said that, but I don't know that answer either.
If you hit a draw, Dennis, you're going to be in trouble.
No worry here.
Brad, that's you, buddy. That's you, Brad.
Yeah, I was in that bunker.
Yeah.
Yeah, I played Pat right by that bunker twice now. I mean, I was on the outside of the line twice. It's, Oh,
So,
well. But so that, you know, when I see things like that and I think about our having to move that green, adjust that T, maybe make some changes to number 3, we're going to lose money. It's going to be difficult to get there. People are not going to want to play the lake. In fact, we're not going to be able to let them play the entire lake. You know, if we were a business, we'd have business continuation insurance to cover this, but we don't. So it's another reason I worry about setting expectations too high on revenue. We've got to be realistic about this.
well, none of that's for this year. That's next year in 23, right?
Right.
Correct.
So, Jeremy, do you have, can you pop up Google Maps and kind of show us what you're talking about from just so we can get an idea? And I'm just wondering, you know, what recourse do we have in terms of limiting this construction easement?
Bear with me.
And I don't know.
Right. It seems to me that, you know, we should have some input as to what they'll take or what they'll borrow. Right. I understand they're putting berms up there for us, but You know, it has to work for us too.
Yeah,
Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
yes.
Yep.
You're still in Outlook, by the way.
Outlook.
That's what you're showing us.
I got Chrome up.
Says
Nope.
outlook.office.com, mail inbox.
Nope.
Yeah, that's what we've got.
You don't see Google Maps right now?
Nope.
No,
No,
we're seeing your inbox, Jeremy.
Oh.
Oh, I see the message from Kelsey.
Oh, you know what? Okay, I must be over here. Here we go.
There you go.
I was on the wrong screen. I'm sorry. All right. Okay, so right now, you know, the stakes are essentially as follows, right? They kind of go pretty much running parallel right on this edge of the driveway, okay? And then it goes kind of, you know, in here somewhere, right? Kind of like this cart path. And then it's right close to the
Wow.
edge of this fairway, all the way. And then it kind of dips back in here along the edge of this fairway,
Right.
okay? So the retention pond, one retention pond's fixing to go somewhere in here. And that's part of the reason why they need so much access, right? And another one's fixing to go right in here, ish. Maybe a little bit more this way. I can't quite recall.
So another way to look at this is that we lose the entire left side rough to construction.
To construction, but remember, part of that is our fault because we need a buffer zone. We need to create those mounds. So it's not just for Pleasant View Road per se, it's for our own internal construction as well to create that buffer.
Yeah, so let's talk about timing, right? We're going to redesign this hole, but they're not going to create the buffer. They're not putting that berm in until the road's done, right?
Well, so that's what our architect is working with Strand on currently, is the timing of things.
See, I mean, I wouldn't feel so bad if they just created the berm and then they were done, right?
Well,
Where
part of it, Mark, is we need the excess soil that they're going to have.
right, that's what I'm getting at. Is that
So,
yeah? I mean, so this hole is basically going to be at risk for 2 years during the entire construction season.
Yes.
possibly, yeah.
And the next one as well.
And then you guys also need to think also regards to woods number 9, if we're fixing to reconstruct that green, which I'm in favor of. Just understand that there's another temporary green over there. So I think the concern is very real as far as you know, the revenue stream in 2022 and 2023. You know, we've got to be conservative for a few more years before we can really start projecting again our trends.
Okay, Jeremy, take us up to the green and the T area for 3.
So the new green would go somewhere in here.
Right. So we have to move that green, which is going to put it tight to those Ts.
Well, the Ts would possibly go in here. I would like to keep this one, but new Ts would possibly go in this area here,
Wow.
something like in here.
Even for
Oh,
a
it's
guy
a
like
bummer.
me,
I
it's
mean-
going to turn into a tee shot and a wedge.
Yeah, I mean, that's what, yeah. It's a bummer that this is happening, but there's, you know, it's out of our control, right?
Right. No, I understand. We can't do anything about moving the 3 green to put some length back into that hole.
Yeah, great question. I mean, you could put the green in here. The issue is that it becomes a possible hitting zone for the next hole, right? But you could, that'd just be an added expense.
Well, but these expenses are all being forced on us by the road construction.
Yeah, I think, but you got to think about the number 5 tee is up here, or number 4 tee is way up here, right?
Right.
if you move the, let's just say, hey, we got all this land back here. Let's move the green back here. Now, you've just created a longer walk
Right.
to the next tee, which people already kind of grump about from 5 to 6.
Right. But the green could be pushed north and a little tiny bit west.
I wouldn't want to go west because of the practice.
Because of
facility.
Right, the range is
Yeah.
right there, Tom, yeah. Yeah.
All right, well, I'm not an architect. I'm just a worrier.
I think if you push the green too far in here, you got to start worrying about shots from number 1.
So what's wrong with a short par 4?
Well, Dennis, the thing is the lake course is already short for a lot of people, right?
Right,
And,
lake is a short course.
and lake is the most, we'll call it unattractive 9 of the 3.
Yeah,
We're going to lengthen number 9, aren't we?
Possibly. I mean, we already did for this reason, but we haven't for people like you just yet.
no, but I hope that's coming. We've talked about that for a long time.
Yep.
But that doesn't help at all in this situation, what we're looking at right now. Puts a
Right.
little length into the lake course, but that's all. Well, so we don't have any new information on timing. It's going to be a while before we can see the architectural suggestions. How much of this, Mark, how much of this are we going to be on the hook for financially,
None of it.
including the changes to the third hole?
Well, I think the issue is, can we claim a nexus to the hole that they're moving around?
Oh, absolutely, without question. It's a safety issue.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much of that'll fly, but clearly that hole along the roadway is a direct impact. Whether or not they're going to pay for secondary impacts, I don't know.
How do we find out?
Construction, right? They may pay for design, but I'm not sure. I think we just say, you know what? the construction caused this to happen, which caused that to happen. You're on the hook for all of it. But that's
Well, let's try that.
Yeah.
Other questions here? The other course change I'd like to talk about is in fact Woods 9. Jeremy, how far will $62,000 go on a new design and construction on that green? Done
Well,
well.
but we don't want to do that until the equipment's here. So this year is irrelevant.
Well, I'm just thinking, well, but if you can't spend it this year, if you can spend last year's 62 this year, but you can't get through this year's 3, you're also going to have a carryover again. I don't want
Yeah,
to
I
be
don't
in the
disagree.
business of year after year carryovers. but-
I don't disagree, Tom, but that's already budgeted in, 2-3 years down the road. So, what maybe a better question would be, instead of worrying about Woods number 9, which is already in the capital plan, what can we do besides that? What about lake number 1 green? What about lake number 7? I could think of a number of ways instead of worrying about Woods 9, which we already have budgeted already, to do with that $62,000. Number 1, I think we need to get the fence in, like Mark has been suggesting. This Erdman property deal is not, it's here, and it's very popular, and I hope it is popular, but we certainly need to make sure that people know where they can and cannot go. And I think that should be a priority.
I'm not arguing against any of those. I'm just saying that you, because of an inability to get the capital projects completed last year, you have a slight bump this year. Where can it best be used?
I'm with you, Tom, 100%. I just
Right.
don't think Woods 9 is the answer because we already have that budgeted, right? But what about like a better practice green? what about better practice chipping area? I mean, there's so many things that we could do to improve this facility as a whole with $62,000. You know, and then frankly, what about my guys down at the maintenance shed, right? We need to, like, we need to do something about that eventually.
Yeah,
And
well, we keep kicking that can down the roads.
yeah, you know,
We need to
so
do something. Yeah.
yeah, and that's part of the discussion. I think we're jumping into number 3 here. So, you know,
Well, unless there's some objection, let's just go into 3.
I mean, so guys, just know that I will certainly keep you updated on in regards to Pleasant View Road as I gather more information. So,
Thanks.
and then like I said, the real estate acquisition company, I think it's Corre, Mark, Corre. Might be, maybe I shouldn't even be saying something. I'll let you know what they find as far as like the land acquisition value would be as well. I just don't have that information just yet.
Right.
All right.
Okay. So number 3, you know, I think that let me pull up last meeting's minutes really quick. Was our last meeting in December? February.
No, it was on February 22nd.
Okay, here's what we stated. Okay, we had maintenance building, possible pavilion, 9 Woods Green, hole 9 on the lake course, and fencing. You know, those are just some things, you know, to think about. But, you know, as I mentioned, I spewed off like a number of different things that we could do to improve this facility. And I think what we should do as a whole, and maybe this is something that we get, frankly, an architect involved, right? Kevin Norby, and say, hey, what could be a master plan to improve this facility for the golfers in the future? Not today, but what are you seeing trends in the future? Trends like a really good putting green, you know, with undulation and almost like a putting course, right? That seems to be a trend. Better chipping and pitching area, which we don't have, right? Better bunker, practice bunker, which frankly is barely passable in my opinion, right? You know, there are some things that we can do to service our golfers better, certainly. And then we have our capital reserve plan for building maintenance, right? And what we need to do to upkeep things and the cart paths and things like that. But I think what we don't have is what is a possible wish list for Pleasant View golfers, you know? And I don't know if
Sorry.
and I don't know if, you know, I don't know that I want to be the only answer to this, right? I think it needs to be a collaboration. And is it within the golf committee? Is it the golf committee that comes up with this? Or is it a professional that comes up with this? I don't know. What I do know is that we do need to look at a maintenance building. We do need to do 9 Woods Green, which is on the docket. I would like to extend hole 9, which we've already been in the process internally of doing. And I think we can do that on our own. I would like to get the fencing done before it's too late. And I would certainly like to entertain a pavilion. I don't know if it's the right answer anymore. I don't know. But those are the things that are kind of like the operation. How could it help us out operationally, right? The maintenance building is a need from an internal operation rather than an external revenue source. Even though I would argue, you know, one could argue that they're just as important revenue-wise as anything else. So I don't know. I don't know where that takes us, but that's just my thoughts in regards to our capital reserve fund and facility improvement plan. Maybe we need to have a professional come in and do a facility reserve plan or a facility improvement plan. I don't know.
It's interesting. We haven't really studied that side other than an idea here, an idea there. You know, the changes that you want to make to the range that we hoped would have gone in this spring are excellent moves in that direction. When you talk about a putting green, I think of the practice green at the Ridge. I mean, you see people come out just to practice putting. It's pretty impressive. But I don't know where
Absolutely.
we've got the land for that.
Well, so where we were going to put the pavilion, maybe the pavilion's not an answer. Maybe a new building is not an answer. Maybe it's more green stuff and get people, having fun with golf and think about putting at that location, Tom, with it lit up at night. It'd be really, really pretty. It'd be
Oh, yeah.
amazing.
No, I agree. I've
Um,
settled a lot of little bets on a putting green.
yeah, exactly. Like the 19th hole, right?
Right.
We start creating an atmosphere that isn't just about the bottom dollar, right? Even though we got to be careful, right? And I understand that. But I don't know. These are ideas that I have, and I'm only one person, right?
Well,
So-
I've always wanted higher class sand. The problem is it washes away so fast.
Well, so bunker improvements, we are looking at a solution currently. I've got a meeting tomorrow morning at 8:30 in regards to that. So yeah, but bunker improvements, that's certainly improving the shaping of the bunkers and the liners. I mean, that would class up the facility pretty quickly, right?
Well, and cart paths. I mean, some of our cart paths are falling apart. It'd be nice to have cart paths. I don't think it's important. We let people drive anywhere they want to. But if we have some already, it doesn't add to the appeal of the course to have them start alligatoring and falling apart. So there's those kinds of issues. There's a lot of ways to get answers to this. I mean, not answers, suggestions. We could brainstorm them ourselves as a committee. You could do an interesting experiment. You could, on a random basis, not just the people that your check-in folks know, or maybe you could work it into this reserve app. What's the best thing we could do to improve P-View? And start asking your clientele.
That I don't disagree at all. But is that a lot of times, Tom, we get a lot of, like, how do I want to say this correctly? Not forward thinking responses.
I agree. But I think that those are important too, Jeremy, because those are current complaints.
So, but that's, Tom, that's different, right? That's more of on a customer service. We're talking what can we do, right, to improve this facility with our capital reserve, right? I think a survey is very powerful. Don't get me wrong, and I think hey, how can we improve from a service level? How can we, improve from a facility level, right? We can narrow this down, right? I don't disagree with you. I still wonder, should we get a professional involved?
Well, I don't know, but I would suggest this, that if you get a reasonable assemblage of ideas, you could then give them to an architect and say, are any of these things even doable here? And if they are, in what priority should we consider them? So you can do the legwork that an architect would charge you for doing anyway. It's just a way of generating ideas as far as I'm concerned.
Sure. I don't disagree. I just want to make sure that this isn't a customer service survey. This is an idea survey, right? This is a,
Well,
hey.
Here's another idea in that regard, Jeremy. You must have, I'm going to guess you've got about 1,000 names that you have in your email system. You could do a Survey Monkey to them focused specifically on the things that you want the survey to focus on. You could come up, we could assemble a bunch of ideas and put the 10 we like the most and say, prioritize these for us.
okay. I don't mind that idea.
I mean, we did that to figure out how to spend $1 million at the condo I was president of. And it was, one of the nice things about it was we got some stuff done that we should have been paying attention to. But we also had made a lot of people feel good about being able to tell us what to do. There's value. Mark, you look like you want to say something. No. I was sure there'd be a comment on surveys in there.
No.
So just in my personal opinion, when we go back to talking about like the practice facility, being the big golfer that I am, there's not a lot of good practice facilities in the area. You can go all the way out to the Ridge, but that's a long haul from here. And there's a lot of golfers in this area. You know, you go up to 6 Mile, up at the Meadows, and they have no practice facility. They have a nice putting green, but you can't hit balls out there. So I played there on Saturday. I came to Pleasant View, hit balls before I went out and played there.
Thanks for the money,
And
Brad.
yeah, right. It was a scramble. But I find myself like on my days off today, I went out, hit some balls at Pleasant View, putted around, right? But I don't want to go to VI-10s. You know, I don't need the TrackMan stuff. I want to hit good quality golf balls at a range and then go putt somewhere. And I think a lot of people in the area do too. And there's nothing like that here. At least what I'm used to, in terms of having been in, the driving range business before and having, that 100-yard or maybe 75-yard wedge shots and chip shots and that sort of things, that I think a lot of people want to work on. So I think it's going to be good for revenue down the line too. I think you'll see a lot more people come out and utilize that facility too. So I think that's definitely a good project to work on in the future.
So Brad,
Mhm.
I think I agree with you 100%. We are almost maxed out of what we can do on the range.
Yeah.
Meaning like volume of people,
Yeah.
right? So I don't know how much more revenue we can bring in on the driving range, minus raising range ball rates, right?
Okay.
But that's part of the reason why we have to go to mats only. And we're upgrading our tee. I don't know if you're aware, but we put a capital item of like roughly $45,000 of a tee line system for mats.
Yep.
It's going to be some of the better mats that are available in the nation. Unfortunately, the components are just on delay for the mats, just like everything else. And so it was supposed to be installed already. They just delayed about a month or so. So we are going to improve the mats. I don't disagree with you at all in regards to the driving range. I would love to shave the hillside down so you can see better. And frankly, that could be something, Tom, to your point, a couple meetings ago, or maybe you and I spoke just cordially on the side. For people that could see the targets because we're moving the mats or the hitting areas back, right? So we could hire a contractor to frankly push some dirt for us with some of that excess funds that we have, right? Because I don't foresee us spending $62,000 on fencing.
Yeah.
Could be wrong about that. But that could be a great help for us with the practice facility to make it better, to Brad's point, right? But I don't know that I would expect a revenue increase on that.
Yeah, I see your point. Yep.
Okay. But Brad, it would create a better customer experience, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I'm going at here is this facility improvement plan to create a better experience for our clients, right? That's what I want. And that's what I would love to be able to utilize this reserve fund. I'd love to in the future, guys, I mean, we're less than 10 years out for this repayment plan. And I would love to figure out a way to continue to improve this golf course so that when I retire, I can be proud of what we have accomplished, right? And not just said, hey, I just rolled over and did it. I want to keep pushing forward and I want help from you guys. And I don't know. So that's my thought with this improvement plan is I really want us to come up with something that we all can be very proud of.
How can we help, Jeremy?
Well, just what you said about let's get the Survey Monkey out, right? And
Right.
and let's come up with what customers say. Again, I just want to be, you know, we can walk a fine line with some surveys, right? And but I think that's a really good first start. And then to your point, Tom, hey, Mr. Architect, Mrs. Architect, what do you think? You know,
Right.
maybe we hire him for that point, right? Can you take a look at some of the ideas that our customers have had? And now it becomes a we as opposed to an I. I'm not a big I guy, right? It's we. And I mean, it'd be really neat to see, you know, some ideas that potentially come out from our golfers, right? And again, Brad, boom, just right there. The practice facility. How can we improve the practice facility? Well, we can get better targets out there. We can shave down the hill. We can get good mats en route. You know, we change out our golf balls every year. You know, we spend $6,000 to $9,000 on golf balls. We're rotating things that matter to people on that practice facility, and I don't want to stop that.
All right. So short of asking us all to come up with additional ideas tonight, if you've got some ideas, and I see Jeremy often enough at the course that if I think of something, I tend to tell him then. That's kind of irresponsible on my part, because it then means he's supposed to remember that. So if you've got an idea, and I'll bet you do, send it to Jeremy, probably email or text. He'd probably take either one. And at the next meeting, let's talk about this again and see if there has been some idea generation and where we want to go.
Yeah, ask friends. Think about other golf courses you've been to. You know, think about your best experience that you've been to, and what was so good about it, right? And why? You know, like, let's bring some of the world's best to Pleasant View. Why not?
It was an awfully good view of the Pacific Ocean. Do you think we could work that in?
We got a great view of the Capitol and the city of Middleton and Madison. It's very pretty.
Yeah, the one built on the winery grounds was fun too. If the golf wasn't good, the raisins were.
But you know, folks, I truly believe the philosophy that we've taken, right, as a whole here, you know, new tables a few years ago, whenever that was, right? New carpet, upgrading range mats, doing the things that we are doing. I do believe it has created the success that we've seen over the past few years. And
I think you're right.
I do not think that's on accident. Excuse me, let me rephrase that. It's not on accident, right? There's implementation by the Pleasant View staff, and then there's implementation by this committee and our vision that we have for this facility. I just don't want to stop that, right? But I also don't want to think, oh, we need to get new tables. Let's think maybe a little bit bigger. Maybe not. I don't know.
Well, Jeremy, you know, we've said this before, but I don't think it can be said enough. There have been a number of changes and upgrades noticeable to the course and the facilities, and that matters. But you've done an extraordinary job on also getting and keeping really, really good staff. And
That's
that's
not easy.
really telling. That brings people back. It's an
Yeah,
enjoyable place to
yeah,
play.
no, that's an ongoing battle. I don't think it'll ever stop. So,
No, I'm sure you're right, but so far, your track record's pretty good.
and you know what's cool about what we've done on the golf course, folks, is that that's all been internal. Most of it's been internal, meaning our own staff on our own time and working out ways to work very efficiently, whether it's expense-wise or time-wise. So,
You know what I hear the most from the people that I play with this year is
What's that?
how much they appreciate the way you have brushed out, cleaned up, opened up parts of the golf course.
Yep.
It's just a different looking place. It's really impressive.
Mosquito control, right?
Yeah, right.
Airflow, so the grass can grow a little bit better. But mosquito was a big reason for that. And I want people to find their golf ball, right? I really do. I want people to have good greens, find their golf ball, have some cold drinks, and just frankly have a good time, and have our staff say, hey, thanks for playing with us today. That's what I want, right? And I think if people get those four things, it's pretty easy.
Well, and I'll chime in again just from a customer perspective, because I go out there quite a bit, and Carl can attest to that. There's never a time if I meet anybody outside, or any staff member, and they don't know who I am, they don't know that I'm on a committee or anything like that. I have yet to have an experience where they don't say anything to me. They always greet. I think everybody out there with a smile, right? And that keeps you coming back. There's a golf course I played in Florida a few months ago that I will not go back to again, because I just didn't care for anybody in the shop. You go in, they're just there to take your money, and there's no experience. Even this morning, walking in, it's a smile. It's how's your day going? You chat for a few minutes, and you remember that, right? That's why people keep coming back to Pleasant View. So whatever you're doing to train your staff, just keep it up. That's going to get a lot of people out there.
Yeah, I'm agreed. I had that same lousy experience at a course in Sarasota a couple of years ago. It was like, I don't know, I don't know if you're the type of person we want at this course, It's like, we'll take your money, but yeah. Let's move on. But seriously, if you have ideas for changes, get them to Jeremy. Future agenda items. Well, there's a big one. Potential changes to the course.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Now, these are improvement. These are facility improvement ideas.
Yep, so I'm gonna just put number 1, number 2, number 3 down. So I think all 3 of those are applicable for a future meeting, right?
Yeah.
I imagine we'll need to approve some quotes for some expenses that we'll have coming up from capital standpoint.
Right.
And I'll look
In fact-
into some ways in regards to the fencing, and then potentially pushing the dirt on the driving range.
In fact, Jeremy, you can cut and paste tonight's agenda pretty much into the next meeting agenda, since those are all the same things.
If only I could
With
do that with
details we want
minutes.
to talk about.
Okay, sweet. Anything else, guys?
Next meeting. I'm going to a calendar. So probably 16th or the 17th or 24th.
Yeah,
Mondays
I
in
mean,
May.
if it's okay with you all, I think that the 24th should be okay.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
I could go either one, to be honest. I could go the 17th if that puts a pinch. Hey, Mark, when is Common Council? Is that on the 19th, or is that on the or the 18th or the 25th?
Common Council will be on the 4th and 18th.
Maybe we should do it on the 17th, all just in case we need to approve some quotes.
All right, let's do that.
That works. Good.
And then if frankly, if I don't have any updates and there's no quotes, right, we'll just push it into June.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. And I'll send you the financials if we don't have a scheduled meeting.
Right, yep,
Okay.
that works. Anything for the good of the cause before we call it an evening? Hearing none, who wants to move adjournment? Well, I guess we all want to stay around.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Good night.
Good
Thanks, and good
night.
night.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
See ya.